Hey guys, Keith here. I got a story to tell you. I hate to give you just a depressing, sad sob story, but I wanted to share my saddest day with you, my worst day, I guess, all in one there. And as you may know, if you've been watching my videos, I'm a widower, and my wife of 23 years, almost 23 years marriage, passed away a little over 4 years ago. And I'm not here to get sympathy, so please don't. That's not what I'm asking. I'm not doing this for that. I really don't like sympathy. To be honest with you, I like support. You can be my friend and be supportive, but I don't really care about sympathy. I don't need that. So much, and just knowing people are here for me or whatever. That's great. But I'm not telling this story to get sympathy or anything like that. So, but I wanted to share this with you. Now, most of you, if you're single today, if you're widowed or a widower today, you know the things that you go through, and we all go through different things depending on how your spouse passes. Maybe it was sudden. That's a lot worse, I think, and harder than if it's, you know, um, maybe years, ongoing health issue like my wife was. So, and I don't mean it. I don't mean it's easy. I'm just meaning it. You have a little more time to prepare. So, my worst day wasn't the day that she passed. And before you leave a comment and browbeat me here, listen to my story, okay, so you understand what's going on there. But so back in 2010, she started to. We had our kids were around 3 and 4 at that time, or two and three actually at that time, and she started developing some health issues, some pain here and there, and started having some hip pain. It was keeping her up at night, keeping us up at night. She would get in the bathtub, just this excruciating pain in her left hip, and I'd have to, help her, a lot of times help her out of the tub. She would soak for 2 or 3 hours just to ease the pain, and it was just, just tears to her eyes kind of pain. And, so started going to a chiropractor, not really thinking of it being anything, you know, life threatening or, terminal or anything chronic, even just thinking, well, there's, because hip pain can be, you have a hip out of place, dislocated, and it can cause you a lot of pain when you put weight on it. So, anyway, uh, but it just kept going on. We began to get concerned, and she started having some lymph nodes show up, around in her neck and things like that in December of 2010. So uh, now we're starting to really get concerned. We didn't have insurance at the time, so now you have another concern, because now finances come into play, and obviously, a person's life and their health are more important than finances. So don't misunderstand that. But it's now you've got another thing added on to the stress of the health issue. Okay, and so it was just one thing after another. We got small children. Now we've got these health issues going on. Now trying to get something done without insurance. She had a colonoscopy in January of 2011. Anyway, just started going to a free clinic, and of course they're real doctors, and everything, but they just weren't finding anything. There was no MRIs done or anything, PET scans, anything like that. So just continuing having problems, and mostly the pain in her hip seemed like was the biggest thing. Lymph nodes popping up here and there. So fast forward to June of 2011. Now, I don't know how y'all feel about prayer and everything. I've done a lot of praying in my day, especially with my wife, situation, and I felt like I saw some prayers answered and some not answered the way I wanted, I guess. But we just have to ask and believe, and that's all we can do, right? So in June of 2011, we had a doctor's appointment, or she had a doctor's appointment on a Friday, and so the night before we had Her mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, kept the kids. And one of the first times we had been away from the kids, actually, I'm pretty attached to my kids, and I don't like being away from them. Even now, they're teenagers, but I just like being around them. I like to not try to be controlling over them. I just love them. I enjoy being with them, and we enjoy being together. So I think I can speak for them. And anyway, so they were spending the night with Grandma and Grandpa. We were at the house and just was just trying to figure out what to do. And she was already in her pajamas, and I said, "You mind taking a drive? Let's take a drive." And she's like, "Okay." And so we went. I don't know what time it was, 11 or 12 at night. It was late. She was up anyway, like I say, not feeling well with her hip. And we went up to a spot where I had our first kiss. We had our first kiss. She kissed me first, just so you know. She initiated that. She was, look at the moon. Oh, yeah, okay, whatever, yeah. I fell for it, and many times after that, too. But anyway, so then I proposed to her in that same spot. So I felt like it was a good place to go, and to pray. And what I prayed was just I prayed for a breakthrough. We needed an answer to what was going on here. And so the next day we went to the free clinic again. Went to the doctor, not getting any news at all. We went and picked our kids up. We had to take a trip. I had bought a TV that didn't work correctly, so we were taking it back to the store. And we were less than a mile from the store, a few hundred yards from the store. I had to make a left turn on not really a highway, just it was a street in a city there. And there was a white car turning. I looked right, there's nothing coming. White car turning left, nothing else coming to the left. I pulled out. And I'm turning left. So as I pull out, I look and there's a red truck coming, hard and fast. And I'm like, where did he come from? Didn't see him. And there was 3 lanes. There was like 2 lanes for that flow of traffic, whichever what direction that was. And then there was I don't know if there was a turn lane there, but anyway, there was at least 3 lanes, and then of course the lane I was trying to get into. And I had time. I mean, it seemed like forever. It was just slow motion. And I looked at my wife and I said, I can't get away from this guy. And I just kept going, and he hit me, broadsided me, and matter of fact, my front tires hit the curb. I was in my lane, so he could have avoided me. I don't know why he didn't. He may have been texting. Who knows? But anyway, it was my fault basically because I was the one pulling out, even though he hit me. But luckily, I didn't get a ticket. They let me go on that. But anyway. The van was totaled. It was a mess. It was a van we had borrowed from my mother and father-in-law. We had another vehicle, but the van had a little more room for the kids. So the dash was just buckled up in the middle, and I couldn't get out on my side. I was shook up pretty good. My insides felt like they were all moved around. And so I went to the hospital. They took me by ambulance to the hospital. This was on Friday, as I said. On Monday, of course, she's still having this pain, and we talked to the insurance, and we're like, well, she had some pain before the accident. What do we do? And the car insurance said, go. Get her checked out. So I took her to the emergency room. We took the kids to grandma's again. We were away from them again. Took her to the ER, and they did a scan on her, and saw the lesions, and it was all over. It was stage 4. And so, I'm starting to process this thing. Of course, before we got the news, we kind of had an idea, but you don't want to believe it. You don't want to give it life. You don't want to speak it, anything like that. We get to so we take the ambulance from one hospital to a bigger hospital, okay, which is the town we had the wreck in. 45 minutes or so from our house, and we get there, and it was just a lonely drive. I sat up front with the ambulance driver. She rode in the back. I mean, not that I didn't want to ride in the back. I don't know if that was even an option, it seemed like. But anyway, long ride. Horrible, just, worst day ever. just thoughts, all kinds of things going on in my mind, thinking about my kids, thinking about my wife, thinking about my life altogether, everything, uh, just thinking about all of us as a family, what is going to happen. We get to the hospital and, they can get us checked into a room and they're just like, yeah, just make yourself at home. You can bring pictures of your kids and your family and set them up. And I'm like, well, we're not staying here, are we? But we did. We stayed there. We were there a week. I stayed there with her, slept in the room. I think the kids maybe came down the next day and grandparents brought them down. So we did get to see them, but it was just a really, it was the worst day. It was the worst day because the news was there. We don't know what's going on, what's going to happen. And, like I say, just trying to process, everything, and I don't even want to say that finances entered my mind at that time because I was more concerned about her. So understand that. But at the same time, I'm thinking about my kids, me and my kids. What if she's not here? The financial aspect of things. How are we going to, deal with this and pay for this and everything? And it was just all these things. Our whole family dynamic has now changed, and we don't know what's going to happen at this point. So, anyway, from that point on, that was 2011. She passed away in 2021. So 10 years from the time or a little less than 10 years, but close to 10 years from the time we found out. And during that 10 years, it was a lot of rough times, a lot of depression she went through. It reoccurred. She had a stem cells transplant. Thought that was going to take care of her. 6 months later, it was back. Just all these things, and I won't go into all of that, but I just wanted to share that worst day with you because it was just a rough day. I was thankful for the car wreck, though, because without the car wreck, we might not have gotten her the help she needed and got her the treatments and everything that she needed. Even though it was stage 4, she had stage 4, I think, 4 times, and or 4 or 5 times that it got to that point. So, so she got to live and be here with us, longer than we thought in the beginning, for sure. And so there was a lot of healing going on, a lot of prayers answered, but a lot of tough times, during that. But at the same time, the kids got to be with their mama another 10 years after that, and I got to be with my wife 10 years. Our life changed a lot. During that time, there's no doubt. Things were different. Our life was not the same as it was the previous 10 years or whatever. But thankful for that. But it was a tough day trying to, when you're trying to process things, it's in your mind and you don't know what to do or how they're going to go. It's tough. And then of course, before she passed, we kind of knew. The doctors had already told us a few months before to get prepared. You still don't want to believe it. You still want to believe in healing. You want to pray and believe but at least at that time, like I say, there was a lot more preparation in my mind. That don't mean that there's no sorrow at the end, but the worst day was finding out that she had stage 4 cancer and just not knowing what was going to happen next. So, I'd be curious to hear your stories. I know a lot of you that have commented on some of the other videos, widows and widowers, and it's tough, and I think we need a good community to share, and I smile a lot. Even during the cancer, cancer's not funny, death's not funny, but we can enjoy life in spite of cancer, in spite of death. And we did. Me and my kids and her, we laughed throughout the thing. Like I say, cancer's not funny. We wasn't laughing at cancer, but now she would make fun of it when she lost her hair. She wrote a song about it and made she could do that because she was dealing with it, so she could make fun of that. But we laughed and had fun during those times, in spite of the cancer, in spite of all the heartaches and the hard times and the depression and all that, we laughed and we found something to be joyful about, because we were thankful that we were all together. And even now, it's sad that she's not here, but I'm thankful for my kids. They're a blessing to me. Without them, don't know what I'd do. I mean, they've been kind of my rock, and so here on earth to keep me going. And so, always that light at the end of the tunnel, and a blessing there. And like I said, the car wreck was a blessing. It got us what we needed. So anyway, wanted to share this with you. I hope it wasn't too much of a downer. I hope it was maybe more positive than a downer, but I wanted to share it with you. And I hope you all having a great day. If you could give us a thumbs up on this, and subscribe to us if you like what we're doing here, and share your stories with us in the comments, and we'll see you all in the next one. Thanks.